It's been a while since I've taken the time to play in my sketchbooks, just making to enjoy the process. Lately, I feel like I've been living in my laptop with lots of online and digital work. So today's sketchbook session is all about just slowing down a wee bit, working analogue and experimenting. My sketchbooks are messy places to play, to try new things out. So today, whilst I test out some brand new paints that recently arrived, I wanted to share 4 ideas to try out in your sketchbooks. You'll find timestamps at the bottom of this video if you'd like to easily navigate through the 4 different sketchbook exercises. Before we dive into the 4 sketchbook ideas in this video, I first wanted to test out these new paints I just bought. I'm not sponsored to share these with you, I just wanted to share a quick demo in case you've been looking for something similar. I wanted to give them a quick sample check and see how they work in my sketchbooks and on good quality paper too. I bought these paints for an upcoming trip I'm taking. I love painting and drawing outside when I'm travelling, and I wanted a palette that I could easily transport, that was preset with a contrast of very bright and very neutral colours. The paints themselves seem to be very flexible. When applied really thickly, they seem closer to gouache and watered down like the watercolours that they are. I have a little bonus tip to start this sketchbook ideas video off, and that is, in a rather contradictory way, to practice working on loose leaf paper too. Okay, hear me out. Oftentimes, to be able to paint loosely and freely, we actually need to practice that, and that means not only doing that in our sketchbooks, but also on the surfaces that we will eventually be transitioning to for our more, in quotation marks, final pieces. I think it's a lot to expect of ourselves to be able to naturally paint with pure confidence and wild abandon when we come to make more developed work later on. And in reality, I think this is something we really need to practice. I think it's really valuable to be able to put aside even a few sheets of the good quality paper or the better paints and not be afraid to use them. Because by doing that, we're going to get really comfortable and confident with those materials. And when we go to create more developed work outside of our sketchbooks, we are already really relaxed and able to kind of use those to the best of our ability. It's no longer this kind of daunting, scary thing to create a final painting, but it's actually just exactly the same as playing in our sketchbooks. So on that, if you are somebody that struggles to work outside of a sketchbook, or struggles to scale up your work, or struggles to give yourself permission to use the beautiful materials you've invested in, here is your sign to go and grab that loose leaf paper and give yourself permission just to play with the materials and play with the surfaces that you have. If worst comes to worst, we can stick this page back into our sketchbook and keep it as a learning curve and a research drawing. Just remember, this is much more about the practice of giving ourselves permission to be confident with our paintings and really just enjoy the process. The first sketchbook idea that I wanted to share was practicing using colours. And this is a lovely place to start if you really have no idea what to paint or what to draw. And the answer to this could be just to not try and capture anything at all. In this idea or exercise, what I love to do is swatch out lots of different blocks of colours, simply with the aim of seeing and understanding how they work together. Sometimes it's too much to try and think of something to capture in particular in our sketchbooks, And they can just be places to research and understand colours and why we love to use different colours better. Then when we actually go to paint something in the future, we kind of have this understanding of what we like when it comes to our colour palettes, or a new idea to try. The only thing you need to do to try this out for yourself is to grab your colours and your favourite materials and simply start putting them on the page. Don't think about it too much. All you need is the one question: what if I ... What if I place this purple next to this yellow? What if I place this blue next to this red? And so on. And what you're going to get are these completely unexpected reactions of colour, which you wouldn't have otherwise found in your typical kind of go-to habitual ways of painting and drawing. Our second sketchbook idea is to recreate a piece of artwork which we have already created, but this time in a different material or media. The thinking behind this is that it really helps us study our own work, what we like and what we don't like about it. It can also help us realise that there are different ways of using materials that we hadn't really appreciated or discovered yet. So it can be a really nice way to get to know your own toolbox better. As you can see on screen, this is a really quick exercise. I'm only spending a few minutes on it, in watercolour and then also in black ink pen. So I'm in no way suggesting that you go and spend another month or a year recreating something which you worked so hard over. This is just a really fast and easy exercise to try out that can help you see new things in your own work. This next sketchbook idea I have dubbed exercise or idea 2.5, and this is because we are going to continue to paint our artwork, our existing artwork, in a different material, but this time we're going to be thinking with each study about something specific. We might be thinking about value, the lights or the darks in our work. We might be doing a study of line, how we can simplify our painting or our artwork into a really simple continuous line drawing. Or perhaps we're going to study the colour in our work, and we're going to simplify our painting down into areas and blocks of colour. This benefits our art in exactly the same way as our last idea. The only difference is that we're honing in on a specific area of art creation so that we can better understand how we work or what we could improve on in that painting if we were to do it again, or to create something new in the future. This exercise is also really lovely if you are maybe feeling stuck in whatever it is you're making and you're trying to figure out why you're getting stuck or what it is that's holding you back. Sometimes by simplifying things down to the one area of study, like value or line or colour blocking, we're able to highlight things that we could improve on or things that we need to understand better in our painting. I know that I found a real benefit from simplifying my work down like this. And it's also just a really relaxing exercise to kind of switch off the need to come up with ideas and instead just to analyse and recreate. If you're enjoying this video so far and you're looking for more ways to play and experiment in your painting or your art practice, consider checking out my Patreon page, The Outdoor Sketchbook Collective. Not only is it the best way to support the videos and my channel here on YouTube, but it's also a way to learn more through the video tutorials, written guides, blog posts, as well as the monthly meetups that we hold on Zoom so that we can get together and have a play and try out ideas in real time. I've left a link in the video description if you're interested in finding out more. In the midst of recording this video, a really exciting delivery arrived for me, and I wanted to unwrap it and share it with you here. These are 4 paintings from my latest collection, Connecting to the Coast, and these have been created into a very small series of fine art prints. Each painting has been inspired by a word or phrase shared with me from people all around the world, which in some way sums up their relationship and experience to their own coastal environments and their relationships with the sea. From the words that were shared with me, I was able to turn these into a series of abstract landscape paintings. And I've selected these 4 paintings to be included in my upcoming print launch, which at the time of shooting this video is happening on the 30th of August. Each print is going to be available in A4 and A3 size, and it's been printed onto fine art German etching paper with archival museum grade inks. All this simply means that the print is really high quality, it's not just a digital print, and so it means that the print is guaranteed to last upwards of 100 years. I'll leave a link in the video description down below if you're interested in checking out these prints and seeing them closer up, or just finding more about them in general. Sketchbook Idea 3 is probably one of my favourites at the moment, and it is all about painting from our imagination. There are very few rules to this, but the general steps that I like to follow are to try and fill my sketchbook page just freestyling and using the materials and the colours and the textures that I really love in my art kit. And once that page is completely full from edge to edge with hardly any white paper showing, I then take a step back and see if I can notice anything in it. This is a really interesting thing to try because it's almost like you're trying to get to know your subconscious better, or yourself better in some kind of way. Because what's on the page is totally abstract, we can then start to bring in little elements of an idea. For instance, when I was looking at my page overhead, once I had filled it up, I began to see what could be a river and what could be the sky, or maybe a field of flowers, and what could be some rocks. And from there, once I could start to see an inkling of an idea of what it could be, I kind of just took the first one that came with my head and ran with it. Over the span of maybe an hour or so, I worked into this double-page spread. What happens if I started to pull in some grasses and a little figure perhaps, till I suddenly had a little bit of a story going on in my scene. This one is probably less about practicing your drawing and more about practicing your imagination and testing how you look and see things, which is equally just as important, I think, as having a technical skill set when it comes to art, because it's going to push how your creativity works. To wrap up this video, our final sketchbook idea is to begin with words or prompts. There are 2 ways we can approach this. The first one is to pre-plan our prompts when we're feeling really, really creatively charged and full of ideas. We can take words that we have in our head and we can write them down as drawing suggestions at the bottom of our page or to the side of our sketchbook page. And then when we reach for our book in the future, when we're feeling a little less inspired, we have already got written instructions from past us telling us what to do. The second way, which I'm demonstrating for you in this video, is to quite simply grab your sketchbook, note down the first thing which comes to your mind, and draw that. The phrase that I ended up writing down was navigating the unknown. This exercise can be a really fun thing in revealing what's going on in your head or in your life at the moment. And sometimes I think our sketchbooks can almost be like diaries or journal entries, kind of uncovering things we hadn't really been thinking about consciously yet. Once we have our prompts written down, it's really up to us to freestyle and try and draw things in the way which feels comfortable to us and which connects in some way to the words we've written down. This is really open and there are no rights and wrongs. For example, the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about navigation was maps, because that's what I would use if I was going hill walking, and is the kind of most important, probably one of the most important tools for being able to navigate in the landscape. Other ideas now that I'm looking back on it could have been things to do with compasses, or maybe trying to capture a landscape which is very covered in mist and just kind of mysterious to get that sense of unknown that you can't really see very far. That's just some ideas that I'm spitballing from the one prompt I had written down. Of course, there are infinite ways that you could take your prompt and idea, so I think the best thing is to not overthink it, to run with the first one that comes into your head, if it's just for the sake of practicing and getting making and getting going again. I'll end this video with a little sketchbook tour to show you everything I've created in this sketchbook session, as well as some other bits and pieces I've been working on to begin this brand new book. And if you are looking for more support and guidance in your art making, check out my Patreon page linked below. When you subscribe to 1 month, you get access to all of the resources in that tier, which is now over a year's worth of tutorials and guidance. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you outside.